Hi again then guys, and welcome to the 54th episode of Weekend Warriors, the review series primarily for the sports cars and sports coupes of the Gran Turismo franchise. And in this particular pick, we're featuring another variant of a very popular sports coupe, a slightly older one from around 2004-ish, and we've already featured the base version of this car, the E46 BMW M3. Very popular, widely loved even to this day. This is the upmarket version of it. Now technically there is another version between the M3 and this car, the M3 CSL or Club Sport Lightweight, called the M3 CS or just Club Sport. The Club Sport version though is not on Gran Turismo, it never has been, and it doesn't really make a huge difference over the normal M3. It's more of a sport package, whereas the CSL is significantly rarer, it looks much more different than the CS does, and the performance is, as you'd expect, different, as is the spec. Now straight off the bat, the normal M3 is not a cheap car. It's a 75,000 credit machine. This one is even more. 30,000 credits more at 113,000. That's a lot of cash. You can get a whole lot of sports car for a whole lot less than that. So the bar is pretty high. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the best car in the game for the money, but you do at least want to know that you're getting good value for money. So with that being said, what does this offer that you can't get with the normal version? Because of course, by definition, that is what would make this car a good deal. Well, the engine is like the normal E46, a 3.2 litre. It's also very unfortunately naturally aspirated, and that is a real shame in the case of all of the M3s because they have so much more untapped potential which could be released through turbo or supercharging, so that's a real shame. The M4, for instance, is a perfect example of the kind of difference that turbo tuning can make on Gran Turismo. That car has 1,000 horsepower, which is roughly twice as much power as this car has in fully tuned form. Now speaking of power, in peak form in particular, it is a more powerful machine than the normal E46. The normal car has 509 horsepower, this one has 517. And it's also a pretty high revving engine. The M3 CSL isn't necessarily a car that you would think of as being a high revving motor, but it actually is. Peak power is at 9,000 RPM. That's pretty impressive. So it's an engine that likes to be worked hard, and that's not uncommon of naturally aspirated engines to have to work them harder to get the best power out of them. And as far as torque, it also has slightly more at 355 foot-pounds. The weight, though, is where you see the most significant difference between the normal M3 and the CSL. This car is around 120 kilos lighter when fully tuned. That's a lot. That's a very good advantage to have, because in stock form, the weight of this car in comparison actually isn't that impressive. But when tuned, it does go that extra mile to be the better machine. As far as horsepower per ton, you're looking at 456, which isn't really as good as it should be, but again, that's because it doesn't have the power which it deserves to be able to achieve, a lot like some other vehicles in the game as well. And as far as fully tuned PP level, it is, as you'd expect, higher than the normal M3, which is around a 537, 540-ish PP vehicle compared to this car's 560. So for a road car, it's reasonably high, especially for a non-turbo or non-supercharged one, and that could indicate, if it's accurate that is, that it could be a good car. So the question is that PP level justified, or does it suffer from Red Bull Junior syndrome? Well, no, definitely not. I'm not saying that this car will beat everything, of course not. There's no one vehicle that will do that in any PP level. There are always other challenges which can be brought up against them, but it is a good car. And what it does compared to the normal M3 around a track is where it's most notable. In a straight line, there's not much between them, all things considered. They have very similar straight line performance. There's a bit of a difference, but not really that much. Around the track though, you can really feel the difference of the CSL. That 120 kilos less makes a big difference through the corners. It's a sharper, more aggressive, more focused, and more, I would say, alert machine than the normal M3. Now, the normal car isn't bad, not by any stretch. It's a great track car. Where the CSL sets itself apart, though, is that the normal M3 feels good when you take it around a track, whereas the CSL feels at home on the track. The M3 in normal form is very much a road car with great trackability, whereas the CSL feels like a track car which happens to be allowed on the road. And that's a pretty big difference to have between the two. Kind of like the difference between a 911 Turbo and a 911 GT3 from Porsche. They're both fantastic, but they're also very different despite being based on the same basic model. Likewise with the M3 versus the M3 CSL, and of course the GTR is different again, but that's a totally different machine entirely on a whole nother level of exotic rarity. So for 113,000 credits, would I recommend buying it? Or would you be better off just getting the normal car and using the difference in money to upgrade the normal M3? Well, that's certainly not a bad idea. I want to make it clear that this is not a clean-cut answer. Both cars are great, and the simple fact is you can make the normal M3 faster than this car because of the price difference. You can buy that car and tune it for the same price as just buying this one for that same 113,000 credits. So, no, this car isn't clearly cut better in all scenarios, but in fully tuned form, it is the better machine. It's faster around the track, fractionally quicker in a straight line, and does have a stronger spec. So I would say the CSL isn't a car for everyone. I would say that in particular the normal M3 does more of that job, especially for the price. The CSL, on the other hand, is more a car for aficionados of the M3 who just want to get the best version possible. And that's similar to many other vehicles from other manufacturers, like, as I said, the GT3 for the Porsche, or the GT3 RS, even more so, or the Spec V for the Nissan GTR, those very track-focused, no-nonsense, straight-to-the-point, focused, aggressive machines. That's exactly what this car represents, and not surprisingly, it's very popular for it. So I'd definitely recommend checking this car out, and that's it overall for this particular pick. So I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.